Hey everyone, it's Jenny W, and today I'm going to be working on a few memorial pieces. I have two molds that I'm going to be using. So I have this mold here that I'm going to use. It kind of sets up. It's flat on the bottom here, and it kind of stands up once it's done. And then I have this mold here, which is a bigger crystal. So just gonna kind of take a look in the mold, and there's a few water spots here and there. So it's gonna dry some. Need to dry some more. All right, and then also I have this piece here. This is a ring holder. I've been making a few of these for my booth, and this one here though I haven't connected yet, so I need to connect these two together, so I'm going to do that too. And some of the pieces that I'm going to use in the crystal will be more colorful memorial flowers. And when I say memorial flowers, these are from a funeral service. I can do, you know, memorial flowers for different occasions, you know, like a wedding or anything like that. So anytime you do make something with flowers, real flowers, you do want to make sure that they are fully dried, whether you're using a silica kind of gel beads, or you know, hanging them upside down to dry, or flattening them to dry them. You want to make sure they're fully dried, because like it can happen either quickly or within a couple of days your flower will start to change color. If it's not fully dry, it can change, you know. I've had a red flower that I thought was fully dry not be fully dry, and when I put it in the resin a day or two later, it started turning this bluish color in the center. And I've also tried just putting a whole kind of rosebud in resin just to see what would happen, and it turned blue. So yeah, you want to make sure your flowers are fully dry. And then moisture too. If there's moisture in there, that might create rot, and your flower could brown really fast and rotten. It could be mold or anything. So you want to make sure they're fully dry. For the flowers that I've used today for the crystal mold, I have dried using silica kind of gel beads. I'll try to link that in the description, what I've used to dry those. And then the other flowers for the other mold are already dried. It's a dried rose. It has some browning to it. It was given to me to embed in this piece by the customer. So they were already dried, and they're pretty brown. She already knows what color they are and everything. So my goal there is just to make the piece kind of look pretty, because the petals are a little bit brown. So I'm gonna stop this right here, and I'm gonna go get the other flowers, have them all arranged and stuff, so we can see what we're gonna do. So I have the flowers that I'm gonna use, and the ones that we're talking about that's a little bit brown are these kind of rose petals. They have just a little bit of red left on them. They are very dry, so I mean, I don't have to worry about those like having any kind of moisture in them or anything. So yeah, we'll get started here. I have my resin, which I use a craft resin off of Amazon. And I'm just gonna kind of take my heat gun over this really fast, just to kind of get rid of some of these bubbles that are at the top. So that helps some, but there's still some bubbles, and normally this resin here as I'm pouring it and letting it set, you know, and stuff, the bubbles tend to rise to the top, so these will kind of go away. There's just some micro bubbles in there. As far as this piece here, I'm just connecting these two, so it don't really matter to me about the micro bubbles being in there. So what I'm gonna do is, and you do normally want to work with some gloves. I use the nitrile gloves, I think is what they're called. You can buy them, you know, at any kind of store like Walmart or anything like that. Buy you a small pack. I actually have a small pack, but I think it's out in my building, so I might go get it here in a second. But I'm gonna go ahead and pour this because this here doesn't take much. You also kind of want to use a mask too. Resin is not that great to breathe in. All right. So when I'm connecting these two pieces, I just want to make sure that the corners of this bottom piece are all filled with resin, and it looks like it is. And then I'm just going to set this down in there like that, and then set it off to the side. All right, I'm going to go get my gloves, and I will be right back. All right, so I have my gloves right here. These are just 10 gloves that I got from Walmart. This here is what the ring jewelry holder will look like kind of once it's connected. So, see, this doesn't come off, it's connected. You have a place for like a bracelet or a necklace to be laid, and then you can put rings or a bracelet or something on the fingers. So I think that's really cool. And I apologize for my nails being super dirty. That's what happens when you craft a lot and all that stuff. Your fingernails aren't the prettiest, I'll just say that. You can see the bubbles kind of rising to the top there on this. So I'm going to put my gloves on now, and I also brought my mask. I can kind of smell the resin, especially, you know, once you, you mix it and you start using the heat gun, you can really smell the resin, even though like it might say odorless or anything like that. It might start out odorless, but then once you start adding heat to it to, you know, make the bubbles cure, or, you know, not cure, but pop and rise to the top, you can start smelling it quite a bit. If you pour a thick amount into a silicone mold like this mold, if you was to fill this up almost all the way, that's a very thick amount of resin, and the resin will start flash curing. Like, it'll just harden really fast. And if you're using flowers that say still have color to them, you know, like this, this is dried in some silica beads. Say you're using that in here and you pour a really thick amount of resin, and this resin cures really fast. Your flowers could burn, not literally catch on fire, but start to like brown or something like that because of the flash curing, and the resin gets so hot. So you could burn your flowers that you already have dried, and that can damage them as well and make your piece look a little bad. So I think I'm going to start with this one, and I'm just going to kind of lay it out on this. Normally I would also use some baby wipes because they're so great at wiping off your tools. Like, you know, any kind of mold, you can wipe them out, you know, with them. I use the sensitive baby wipes, the cheapest brand that you can get, like from Walmart. It'd be like, you know, Equate or Parents' Choice brand baby wipes. I use those, and right now I'm out, so I'm kind of just out of everything. Actually, I'm going to pick some up from Walmart later, but I have to get this first layer done on these pieces so I can do the second layer later on. So I'm putting my mask on, so if my voice sounds a little muffled with the mask, I do apologize. Sorry about that. But I don't want to breathe it in a whole lot. All right, so what's gonna happen is I'm going to pour a layer in this mold. I've cleaned out the inside of the mold so it looks pretty decent. I'm gonna pour a first layer, and that's how I'm going to lay the flowers in there first, is just my first layer. And I'll talk to you about the flowers and stuff, but I'm gonna kind of put my mask on as I'm pouring the resin and everything, and then I'll talk to you about what flowers I'm gonna use. Okay, so that's the first layer in this piece. And it is a little bit thick. That's okay. The flowers are gonna kind of float a little bit and everything. It is about a little over halfway of this piece. It's probably too thick of a layer. You probably wanna do thin layers. If I did a thinner one than this, I would probably end up doing 3 layers, but I'm only trying to do 2. It might cure pretty fast, but I mean, I think it'll be okay. Now I'm gonna pick out some flowers that I wanna put in here. I have a sunflower. I think this is a carnation. A rose. Another kind of sunflower. And some greenery, eucalyptus and some leaves and stuff. So I tend to put the color in the front, the more colorful items in the front, and I do the greenery kind of in the back. I don't think I'm going to use all of this sunflower because I want to incorporate these 2 flowers in there. This flower and this flower. So I think what I might do is cut this sunflower in half and use half of it in there, and then use some yellow petals with these 2, because I'd like to do half of this sunflower, this red, and then these 2 flowers whole, and then some of these yellow petals, and then the greenery in the back. So let me grab some trimmers here. These are actually my plant scissors, so I really probably shouldn't use these, but I mean, I have some other ones, so I'm okay with it. Again, you want to make sure you wear a mask. Right now I have my mask pulled down because I'm talking and I don't want to try to talk and it be so muffled when I'm talking and the video be terrible. I'll try to do voiceovers probably from now on too. I have some new equipment, so hoping it'll be nice. Okay, so one bad thing, which this just fell apart. One bad thing about the silica beads is they get all over your petals sometimes and get stuck. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in there. And I have some skewers, which these come in really handy to kind of just push stuff down in there. You wanna make sure that the resin gets in all the crevices of the flower. So I have that one in there. And I think what I'm gonna do next is this, I think I might put some yellow petals in there, maybe a little bit of the greenery from the other sunflower, maybe like part of it. Like this. I think that's kind of neat. So might do something like that. Because I want the yellow to stand out. Let me take a look at this, because the way that I'm angled here is not the greatest. You're gonna have these little seed things floating. You can get them on your skewer and just kind of wipe them on your towel. I'm sitting in an awkward position here. So I'm gonna have lots of these little seed things. Probably shouldn't have cut the flowers, but I mean, it's okay. We have some other flowers that's gonna go in there, so it's really gonna take away some of those seed things. Okay, put that down in there. See, the sunflower pieces kind of move to the back a little bit. Okay. All right, now it's time for this really pretty rose. So, pretty sure I can fit this right in here. And I am. Okay, so now I have the flowers in here. So now I'm gonna kind of just play with it, move some stuff around. Add in some greenery. Okay, so the greenery that I have are like these little twigs and stuff, and I have some eucalyptus. I really want to put the eucalyptus in there, and I like this greenery. So for the greenery, I think I'm gonna cut it. And I definitely want that in there. Maybe on the side, so I might cut it again. And I actually am gonna put a little bit of this in the front. And then some of that in the front. Might put some down here towards the bottom. It'll kind of peek through places. Okay, so the rose is down in there. Towards the bottom here, which you can't see this on camera, I don't think. But there's some space right here at the bottom of this rose. So I think that's where I want to add in a piece of this eucalyptus. And again, it don't have to like go all the way down in the resin. I just want it in some of the resin because I'm going to be doing a second layer. So I definitely and I think I need some more greenery in there. I have the eucalyptus in there. It's not quite where I want it to be. I need the rose kind of behind it. The eucalyptus more in the front. There we go. Okay, I need some more, maybe some little bits of it. There's that. And I have a good leaf or two that I can use too. I can put it down in here. And then there's that. Okay, so this one, I've finished with this first layer. Now I might add a little yellow leaf down there. Kind of spread out some of that color. There. Okay, so now I'm going to move this to the side. See, this is how that first layer looks. Move that to the side. And I'm going to go get some more paper towels. Okay. Now, with this one, it's going to be a little bit different because, like I said, I have this bag of brown rose petals. So what I'm gonna do is kind of have to incorporate some other stuff to kind of make it look, you know, a little prettier, you know, because these petals are, most of them are brown with a little bit of red. So for this one, I'm gonna do a layer. It's gonna be about that thick. You can tell that this resin is really cleared up now. I love using it because of that. So I'm gonna take out some of these petals. And I'm just gonna place them randomly. Just kind of randomly in the resin. Just different places. They don't have to be, you know, you can flip them over. If one side's more brown, you know, do, just kind of switch it around some. Like, that way you have a little bit on both sides, because with this piece, in either side could be the front of it. I'm just gonna kind of play with the petals, and they're ripped and stuff, which that's okay. They're very dry. They're not gonna be the greatest petals. I'm wanting to get this done because actually this customer here wants one of hers. I have to make 3 of these for her. Wants one of hers tomorrow. So I kind of have to get to work on it. If I do this first layer now, later this evening, I can do the second layer. As long as I don't wait too late. A lot of little pieces in here that I kind of want to use because they have some red in them. But we're gonna make this look pretty. That's why you kind of flip stuff over. You want it to be like a little bit of red on both sides because, like I said, either one of these, like either side of this could be the front. And whatever side they choose, you want to, at least have some good color on there because most of these petals are brown. I'm using like every bit of this that I can. All right, I am going to look through this bag because I know I have some bigger ones in here too. I'm gonna put that one in there. Sorry if I'm quiet, I'm just working. See, I'm just trying to push these petals down. All right. I think that's all I want to use right now. And that, as far as the petals. But now to make this pretty, obviously dried petals, any kind of dried petals is probably already pretty, so. But we're gonna add a little bit of something to it. To make it even more pretty. give it a little pop of something. So I am going to add some moss to it. Just little pieces of moss. I only use just a little bit. And you gotta be a little bit careful because some moss, like as you put it in the resin, it will kind of, the color will kind of come off of the moss. You don't want your resin to turn green from the color of the moss. And this moss has so many holes in it, so you kind of just want to get the resin all in these holes, because if not, you're going to have tons of bubbles. I'm gonna put just another piece of moss in here. Like, really, my moss is very dried. Very dried out. I'll put another piece right there. And then maybe one up in this corner. Just using my own kind of judgment here. All right, so now I've added some moss in there to kind of make it a little bit, you know, different color. So now what I'm gonna do to even brighten it up a little bit more is I am going to add some little bits of gold flecks. And I just take the gold flecks like this and kind of just push them in the resin. Just kind of place them where you want them. It adds just a little bit of, you know, something. This is gonna get smaller. It's not gonna be that big. I'm gonna ball it up. As I put it in there. And you know, I have some more on my stick. You can just kind of spread them around where it looks even to your eyes, you know, kind of nice and, what do you call it? Aesthetically pleasing. Sorry if my Phone is shaking a little bit because I'm trying to push this in there, and I might jiggle my phone some. See, that looks like a lot, but it ends up not being a lot. I mean, that actually is a pretty good piece, but I can tear it apart and put it in different places. It don't matter if some of these flowers are sticking up out of the resin either, because this is just the top, the first coat of resin. All right, this is looking pretty good as far as the gold flecks. Probably put some more down in there. And then push this one down here because it kind of just got stuck there on the side. That is the thing, you want to push them down where they're kind of visible on the other side too, because like I said, either side could be the front. And with this mold, I really like it because I can take these and like put a name or something like that on there for a memorial piece using those flowers, you know. So I like it. I'm gonna put something right there with that moss. And then that's it for this one. I have some resin left over, so I'm gonna have to figure out what I need to do with that because I don't want to waste that. Resin can be very expensive, it can be messy, so you don't want to waste any of your resin. But this and this other piece, I can really now just go across it with my heat gun and kind of pop any little bubbles, but this resin is pretty much clear now. And these pieces are gonna look so good. But I'm going to pour in a second layer later on today, and it'll just be a layer over top, you know, just to fill like this one to the top and fill this one to the top. And then basically I'll pop them out tomorrow. And I might do a video of me popping them out tomorrow. Finish this video with me popping them out. I don't think I'm going to film the second layer because all it is just me mixing up the resin and doing a second layer on these. That's all that is. So I hope you enjoyed this part of the video. I'll be back as soon as I'm ready to pop these out, and that'll be the end of the video. So I'll see you when these are ready to pop out of the molds.